When you're pulled over on Texas highways, troopers record your race on your ticket. It's required by law to show whether the Department of Public Safety is racially profiling.
But tonight, KXAN investigator Brian Collister uncovers troopers are not always following that law during traffic stops.
Robert and Shannon, DPS calls itself an elite and highly trained force. So how can troopers get something so obvious so wrong? A DPS trooper, siren blaring, coming up fast. He pulls over this driver for speeding last May. Pastor Gonzalez Sosa only speaks Spanish, tells the trooper he's from Mexico. But guess what race the trooper, who's Hispanic and also speaking Spanish, marks down on Sosa's ticket? White. The same thing happened to Sergio Raul Mejia when he got a ticket this May in Georgetown. The trooper reported Mejia as white.
Well, that's bad. I'm Hispanic. He was not supposed to fool white people.
You don't think he looked white?
No.
Both of you drinking?
In every traffic stop, state law requires peace officers determine the driver's race to the best of their ability and document it. The law is very clear. Race and ethnicity are treated the same. Troopers must pick from these categories, which include both white and Hispanic. But we've discovered examples of race recorded incorrectly after we poured through millions of DPS traffic citation records. Like these drivers seen on dashcam video, all Hispanic, including David Ramirez Bautista, speaking to a trooper who apparently doesn't understand Spanish. There's Antonio Tovar Mendez, Jose Luis Ramirez, and Jose Palacios Jr., all of them reported by DPS to the state as white.
There's something else going on here.
We showed the data to Professor Ranjana Natarajan, who directs the Civil Rights Clinic at the University of Texas School of Law. The professor says what we've uncovered reveals DPS racial profiling statistics are unreliable.
It's very disturbing because what it shows is that there either seems to be complete lack of training on the part of DPS officers and other law enforcement officers about how to report people's race, or that there's deliberate sort of, trying to not follow the policy.
And we also found this. The most common names of drivers stopped and recorded as white by DPS after Smith is Garcia, Martinez, Hernandez, Gonzalez, and Rodriguez. Nearly 2 million drivers with Hispanic names marked as white. One Rodriguez who's expressed concerns with DPS, State Senator Jose Rodriguez of El Paso.
Yeah, Rodriguez, Garcia, Martinez, Gonzalez, Lopez, Garza, Ramirez. You know, we've got to stop playing these kinds of games. People want to know, why are Hispanics being singled out? That's a simple question. And you can't go around saying, well, they're whites.
DPS statistics show it's pulled over an increasingly disproportionate number of Hispanic drivers over the years. And our investigation suggests that number may actually be much higher than what the agency is reporting.
There's got to be some explanation for that.
When Senator Rodriguez demanded an explanation, the DPS director, Stephen McCraw, sent this letter claiming troopers received additional training on the collection of racial profiling data, which emphasized the importance of accurately reporting the race and ethnicity.
Brian Collister, I'm with KXAN. How are you?
DPS declined when we asked to interview McCraw, so we caught up with him at a meeting of the state's Public Safety Commission, which oversees DPS.
Your point could be valid.
McCraw blames a flaw in their computer system, but acknowledges it's up to his troopers to accurately report race.
So, with the troopers making the determination, why are still so many being put down as white?
Why? I don't know that is. We need to look at the data. If it is, it is. We'll make adjustments. I don't doubt that there may be mistakes made on occasion, but I don't know the details of that until I see the data and I sit down with my experts. I'd like to see how wrong we are.
Now, because of our investigation, DPS tells us it will enhance the precision of this important reporting requirement. They're also exploring possible fixes to their computer system. Now, we put DPS's full statement and the entire interview with the director on our website for everyone to look at.
Brian, you mentioned that computer flaw. Did you ever see any white people marked down incorrectly?
We did look for that. Didn't find a single example.
Very interesting. Brian, thank you very much. Online now at KXAN.com, our special web feature. Check out video extras from police dash cameras so you can see the traffic stops for yourself. Plus, photos of minorities wrongly ticketed as white. And our illustrative data element showing just how many drivers are wrapped up in this problem. It's all in this story in the investigative section of KXAN.com. Then join us on air for KXAN News Sunday after the game when our investigation continues. What we found statewide is spilling into city police departments, including Austin.
If you can't tell the difference between a black, a white, Hispanic, and an Asian, a male and a female, you probably shouldn't be a cop.
How the police chief is taking action after our discovery.
The police chief is ordering a review of his department's collection of traffic citation data. This all comes at a time when many minorities in Austin say something finally needs to change.
I can't change my color. I was born this way. And other black people can't change their color either. They're just being profiled for no reason. I'm tired of it.
Anger and frustration.
My fear is that when I get in my car and drive to my job, that I will be stopped by the police.
Can I get a few tickets, okay?
The fear of racial profiling by police is very real for many in Austin, including Danielle Yanis.
I'm a Chicano.
Yanis believes Austin officers pulled him over last year because he's Hispanic.
Within 5 minutes, there were 4 other cars, and I had 8 policemen surrounding me.
On his ticket for expired registration and inspection, police wrote down his race, which is required by law and meant to prevent racial profiling. But Yanis never noticed.
Does that say white?
Yes.
Well, I didn't even notice.
They put you down as white.
So you got a citation for me. I didn't even notice that. That is, well, there you go. What can I tell you? It's insidious.
It didn't just happen once, but twice. Again in 2012, when another officer marked him down as white.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I guess I must be white. Jeez.
The longtime Austin activist complained about his most recent stop to the city's Human Rights Commission while discussing training and policies on racial profiling.
I can tell you that I lived in West Austin for 22 years, and that never happened.
During that same meeting, the head of APD's training academy said this.
We very accurately document every stop and every contact with the public.
But that's not what we found. KXAN uncovered case after case of Austin officers ticketing minority drivers incorrectly, marking them down as white, when as you can see, they're clearly not. We analyzed more than 600,000 tickets from the last 5 years. We identified and verified drivers who are Hispanic, Asian, and black recorded in APD's own racial profiling data as white, like Monique Weedle, Ebony Stearns, Monique Verse, and Eric Pham, each marked down by an officer as white. And there's Darren Chung.
It's just surprising. I mean, I'm not white, so it's just a surprise.
His ticket from running a red light this year says he's white too.
I'm half Indian, quarter black, quarter Chinese.
Are you white?
Not white, no.
506 traffic.
In every traffic stop, state law requires peace officers determine the driver's race to the best of their ability and document it. The law is very clear. Race and ethnicity are treated the same.
The expectation is that our people honestly fill out the documentation.
By law, APD Chief Art Acevedo delivers an annual report on his department's racial profiling data to the City Council. It's based on what officers write down at each traffic stop.
This one's totally wrong. Zavala, I would say, is wrong. Pham, Trank, no, that's definitely wrong.
Sometimes your officers just get it wrong.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I don't know. I can't answer that.
What concerns the chief the most is our list showing thousands with Hispanic names listed by his officers as white.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's problematic. And it gives me some pause to question why we're having that many that are coming up being counted as white. That's a problem. So I have to look at, is it a policy issue? Is it a training issue? Or is it a data input issue? Or is it people not doing the right thing?
If the data is incorrect or is being implemented incorrectly, then it's essentially it's not good.
We shared our findings with Texas State professor Scott Bowman, who who teaches a course in racial profiling.
How do you make sure that it's accurate and just?
Bowman doesn't know whether officers are deliberately skewing the data or possibly just trying to protect their jobs.
Rather than to have to take additional training or lose your job even, you can just simply check an alternate, box and, normally nobody would be the wiser.
The heads of the Department of Public Safety and of Austin Police both say they are looking into the inaccurate reporting. And now, because of Brian Collister's investigation, that state lawmaker will hold a hearing into the problem at DPS.
You're in my committee, sir.
State Representative Garnet Coleman grills the head of DPS in a heated hearing this summer. The chairman of the House Committee on County Affairs and other lawmakers peppered Director Stephen McCraw.
Well, you can step on out now.
For details on the controversial traffic stop of Sandra Bland in Waller County, and demanded answers about the agency's racial profiling, policies, and statistics.
Puedo verificar esa información, okay?
So Representative Coleman was stunned when we showed him this DPS dash cam video from our investigation.
When you see that video, what race is that motorist?
Oh, he's definitely Latino.
No, he's white.
Really?
Coleman says he can't believe this trooper wrote down this driver's race as white on the ticket.
Wow.
Before we even shared our findings with him, Coleman was critical of the fact that DPS racial data shows a huge spike in troopers stopping Hispanic drivers. We showed him how troopers are recording minorities, mostly Hispanic, as white.
It's absolutely amazing. So the numbers are even higher. There are more stops than reported of Latinos based on this data, and they're hidden under stops by identifying those individuals as white.
What do you think of that?
I don't think that's right. I think that makes this even worse.
So because of our investigation, Coleman has called a special hearing of his committee next week. He plans to ask DPS how it can have a computer system with no clear or simple way to record someone's race as Hispanic.
Ask DPS under oath. Well, how can this not be the case?
The director told lawmakers DPS cannot immediately fix a problem with the in-car computer system used by troopers. So starting today, troopers will now ask every single driver they pull over to tell them their race, so it can be recorded correctly on their citations.
You were right, and we were wrong.
The head of DPS finally admits what KXAN uncovered his troopers doing is true. For years, they've been wrongly recording large numbers of Hispanic drivers as white. Today's admission didn't sit well with lawmakers who've already been concerned with the dramatic increase in Hispanics being stopped.
The number of people who are stopped that are been coded incorrectly, that means we're understating the percentage because they're not in the equation.
What we can do better, and what we should have been doing better, is collect the data accurately as it relates to Hispanics. Plain and simple, guilty, and that should have been done better, and we've got an obligation to fix that.
The fix? Troopers will now ask every driver they pull over to tell them their race so it can be properly reported to the state, as required by the law aiming to prevent racial profiling.
So when does the change take place for DPS?
Well, internally, the change takes place, effective today. We just we'll change our tactics statewide in terms of how we, engage, violators on the side of the road.
Although DPS says it's known about the problem for years, McCraw is just now telling lawmakers about it and taking responsibility. In this memo sent today to all Texas Highway Patrol personnel, Director Stephen McCraw instructs troopers to stop doing what he first told them to do back on November the 18th. Asking drivers their race. McCraw initially ordered troopers to ask in response to our uncovering officers inaccurately recording the race of a large number of Hispanic drivers as white. But the state's leading expert in racial profiling law criticized the move, saying it could lead to costly lawsuits and put officers in a difficult position. And that's apparently exactly what happened. I spoke today to the head of the Department of Public Safety Officers Association by phone, and this is what he told me. Quote, the troopers did what the director said, but it just didn't go very smoothly. Some people got offended, and it put the trooper in a bad situation. DPS blames a flaw in their computer system for the inaccurate reporting we uncovered. Today, the new directives order troopers to record what they believe is the race of the driver, and each motorist will then have the chance to object to the category selected when they sign the actual citation. And Robert and Shannon DPS also announced today in this directive that they will now institute some new audit procedures to make sure this racial data is accurate.